Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Lydia Nurjannah. Today I will present my thesis entitled The Effectiveness of Using Story Pyramid Strategy Toward the Grade Student Reading Comprehension at MTs Nurul Huda Kotabaru. The first, we will come to the background of the problem. In here, based on my observation at MTs Nurul Huda Kotabaru, students at this school have difficult to understand reading skill in English language, so they cannot answer the question properly and correctly. There are several reasons, one of which is due to a lack learning strategy. Therefore, learning strategy are needed so that the reading comprehension becomes something student like and increase student interest and enthusiasm to understanding the lesson. Student can reading text well and answer all questions and are able to understand all the lesson explained by the teacher. From the research background above, the writer interested to conduct research related to the strategies that will be used to improve student reading comprehension skills under the title The Effectiveness of Using Story Pyramid Strategy Toward Student Reading Comprehension of the A grade at MTs Nurul Huda Kotabaru. Okay, next we come to the problem and limitation of the research. Identification of the problem here are the student lack understanding of reading skill, so they have difficulty distinguishing the content of a reading text and cannot answer a question properly. And then the second, the student cannot understanding the language features of the text because the student unable to distinguish the content of the text. And then the teacher use only teacher-centered learning without considering whether it is suitable or not suitable for students, which makes students become passive learners because the teacher lacks strategy. And then limitation of the problem here are after identifying the problem state which have indicate the phenomenon. Thus, the researcher limits the scope to know whether there is a significant difference after using story pyramid strategy toward student reading ability or not, student reading comprehension or not. Now we come to the formulation of the problem. The first, how is student reading comprehension at the A grade of MTs Nurul Huda Kotabaru in reading narrative text when they are taught without using story pyramid strategy? And the second, how is student reading comprehension at the A grade of MTs Nurul Huda Kotabaru in reading narrative text when they are taught by using pyramid strategy? And then the last, is there any significant difference achievement on A grade student reading comprehension at MTs Nurul Huda Kotabaru in reading narrative text when they are taught by using story pyramid strategy and those are taught without using story pyramid strategy? Now we come to the objective and significance of the research. Objective of the research here to find out whether there is any significant different achievement of students reading comprehension at the A grade student of MTs Nurul Huda Kotabaru in reading narrative text when they are taught by using story pyramid strategy and those are taught without using story pyramid strategy. And then the significance of the researcher here, there are theoretically, practically for student, for teacher, and for future researcher. Now we come to the definition of term. The first is story pyramid strategy. According to Putota 2011, story pyramid is a strategy to ensure the student thoroughly comprehend a variety of different aspects of a story by closely analyzing the main character, setting, problem, event, and solution. And then narrative text. According Cahyono et al. 2011, narrative text is the one of the text type that junior high school students learn in their English classroom. Narrative is one of the component text type that the students are expected to use early on their school life. Then narrative is defined as the act process, a skill of telling a story. Moreover, narrative text is an imaginative experience. And then definition of reading comprehension according to Klinger 2007, reading comprehension is the process of constructing meaning by coordinating a number of difficult processes that consist of word reading, word and word knowledge, and fluency. Reading comprehension is a kind of skill in reading which make the readers can create meaning from the written text, which make them able to understand the information in it. Now we come to the theoretical framework. Theoretical framework from reading comprehension is by Burns, Brown, Woolley, Horowitz, Karen, and Lyons. And then narrative text is Rebecca and Anderson. And then story pyramid strategy here are by Macon et al., Lansky, Tankersley, Putata, and Chess strategies. And then we come to the relevant research here. There are 5 relevant research here. The first is by Mumpuni 2014, and the second by Mentari Wills Wijayanti and Sri Handayani. The third by Zahra Siti Muslima. The fourth by Eva Nursi Rivianiti. The last is by Irna Kholida. And then the operational concept here, the variable X is about story pyramid strategy. In here, the teacher tell the student that they are going to discuss about narrative text, and then the second, the teacher give student the model of story pyramid that have provided and explain how to use story pyramid about. And then the third, the teacher give narrative text and story pyramid worksheet to student and ask them to read the story. And then the next step, to measure student understanding in narrative text, teacher give a test in multiple choice form student and ask the student to answer the question. And then the variable Y is reading comprehension here. The first is student are able to know how to analyze in the reading process, and then the second, student are able to identify main idea and topic, and the third is student are able to answer and understand a descriptive question form, and the fourth is student can get the meaning and able to construct the sentence, and the last is student are able to get moral lessons. And then we come to the hypothesis. In here, there is no significant difference between the student who are taught by using story pyramid strategy and the student who are taught without using story pyramid strategy towards student reading comprehension at MTs Nurul Huda Kotabaru. And then the HA, there is significant difference between the student who are taught by using story pyramid strategy and the student who are taught without using story pyramid strategy towards student reading comprehension at MTs Nurul Huda Kotabaru. We come to the research design. In this research, the method used was quantitative method with the design quasi-experiment. According to Creswell 2012, quantitative is a type of education research in which the researcher decide want to study like a specific narrow question, collect quantifiable data from participants, and then analyze those numbers using statistic and objective manners. Now we come to the time and location. Time of the research here will be conducted in 2023, and then the location is MTs Nurul Huda Kotabaru, Seberida, Kecamatan Keritang, Kabupaten Indragiri Hilir, Riau. And then subject and object here, the subject is the A-grade student of MTs Nurul Huda Kotabaru, and the object of the research is using story pyramid strategy on students' reading comprehension. Now we come to the population and sampler here. We can see from the table population. Here are total population 58, and also total sample is 58. And then the sample here are total sampling. And then we come to the technique of collecting and analysis data. Here are The first is test multiple choice, is about the test is a pre-test and post-test, and then we come to the second is treatment, and then validity, reliability, and then we come to the data analysis, normality test. Now we come to reliability and normality of the test. Based on the table, it can see that the reliability test is 0.980 on 15 questions. So the item is said to be reliable because the corona batch alpha value is large from the error table. And then based on the data normality test table above, it can be concluded that for all experiment and control class data in this pre-test and post-test, it shows that the significant Kolmogorov value is greater than alpha, namely 0.015. Thus, it can be said that the research that was tested has a normal data distributions. Okay, now we come to the result. The first is about student reading comprehension at the A grade of MTs Nurul Huda Kotabaru in reading narrative text when they are taught without using story pyramid strategy. The first table, we can see the frequency distribution of student pretest score of control class. Based on the table, it can be seen that the higher score was 60 and the lowest score was 15 in the control class pretest. And then the table, the classification pretest score of control class here, from the 29 students that in the pretest, most of the control class students were classified into a poor level. And then the next table is the frequency distribution of students post-test score of control class. Based on the table, it can be seen that the student, the higher score was 80 and the lowest score was 50 in the control class post-test. Then the classification of post-test score of control class. Here are the post-test. Most of control class students were classified into a good level. Okay, now we come to the students' reading comprehension at the A grade of MTs Nurul Huda Kotabaru in reading narrative text when they are taught by using story pyramid strategy. We can see the table, and based of the table, the highest score was 50 and the lowest score was 10 in the experiment class pretest. And then in the table of classification pretest of experiment class, based on the table, in this pretest, most of the experimental class students were classified as not good. And then we come to the next table is the frequency distribution of student post-test score of experiment class. Here, based on the table, the highest score was 90 and the lowest score was 55 on the experimental class post-test. And then based the table, the classification post-test score of experimental class table, in this post-test, the most of experimental class students were classified into a good levels. Okay, next we come to the significant different achievement on A grade students reading comprehension at MTs Nurul Huda Kotabaru in reading narrative text when they are taught by using story pyramid strategy and thus are taught without using story pyramid strategy. Here are, based on the table, the research result showed that the T count 3.461 and the table value with distribution frequency 56 is 2.003, and then this means 3,461 is more than 2 2,003 or a significance of 0.001 smaller than 0.05. Therefore, HO is rejected and HA is accepted. It can be concluded that there is a significant difference in score in reading comprehension between students taught with and without using the pyramid strategy method at MTs Nurul Huda Kotabaru. And then the research looked for the percentage of significant difference in the pre-test and post-test by looking for the following effect size or eta square. From the output, a score of 0.176 was obtained, concluding that the story pyramid strategy method has a moderate influence on reading narrative text. From the explanation, we can see that there is a significant difference in reading comprehension score between students taught with and without using the story pyramid strategy method at MTs Nurul Huda Kotabaru. Conclusion: this research was conducted to determine the effect of using story pyramid strategy on the reading comprehension of a grade student MTs Nurul Huda Kotabaru. And then based on the research finding in the previous chapter, there are significant difference in reading comprehension between students taught with and without using the story pyramid strategy method for the A grade student at MTs Nurul Huda Kotabaru. The result of data analysis are based on inferential statistics that have been identified after using the story pyramid strategy, which can improve student reading comprehensions. Okay, that's all from me. I apologize for my mistake. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.